In his book, Wait What?, Dr. James Ryan lays out 5 questions we can ask that will take us all to a better place. The first question, where the book gets its title, is, wait, what? Never be afraid to ask that question, to hit pause, to stop the train, and to say, wait a minute, I'm not really sure what we're discussing here. It takes a pretty confident person to do that, so do it. Because the alternative is acting like you know what everyone's talking about when you really don't. And most of the time, people can see through that. So be wise enough, be brave enough to stop the train and say, wait, what? The second question is, I wonder. I wonder why, or I wonder if. Now, the word wonder is great because it allows us to suspend logic long enough to think outside the box. We tend to get bogged down with all of the details, trying to figure out the how and the when. We'll get to that, but first, hit pause long enough to say, I wonder, what if we did this differently? I wonder, why are we still doing this? You had no problem with that word when you were 7, but we tend to mature past our imagination, and we don't think outside the box enough. The word wonder allows us to do that. I wonder why, or I wonder if. The third question is, couldn't we at least? Couldn't we at least? This is how we get unstuck, because it allows us to acknowledge common ground. It helps us to remember, and you may need to hear this, the people who disagree with you are also good, decent people, and they think they're just as right as you do. So sometimes if we're stuck and we're running up against a wall, it helps to hit pause and say, well, can't we at least agree on this? Regain some common ground, and then move forward. The fourth question that Dr. Ryan recommends is we ask people, how can I help? And from a chaplain's perspective, I would say the most important word here is how. Don't assume that people even want your help. But if you're going to ask, it's important that you're humble enough to ask how. Everybody knows their life better than anybody else does. And I'll say the same thing about you. You have a PhD on you that I don't have. So I don't want to walk in your life and assume that I know everything you need to know and I can fix all your problems. The kind thing to do is to first ask, how can I help? Hey, what can I do for you? Can I do anything to help you out? But do that before you assume you already know what it is they want. It's the same courtesy that you would want them to extend to you. Fifth and finally, we would ask, what truly matters? The word truly here is the best word. What truly or what really matters? Because that allows us to step back and really focus on core values. Because at the end of the day, that's really who you are. And so when the fog of life gets in front of your face and you can't see past the most immediate problem, it helps sometimes to step back, say, you know, my peace or my joy is threatened by this circumstance. But what really matters, who I actually am, that's going to endure beyond this circumstance and the next circumstance. Nothing can change that. But we have to be able to hit pause and focus on the things that really, really matter on the other side of our circumstances. So these are the 5 questions. Wait, what? Allows us to get a better understanding. I wonder why? Helps us focus on creativity. Couldn't we at least? Gives us progress. How can I help? Question 4, how can I help? Focuses on building relationships. And then finally, and maybe most importantly, what really matters? Recenters us back on our purpose. Thanks.